Okay, so today we are going to be planting the rest of our what I call pre-frost crops. These are the crops that we can plant before the last freeze. So what you're looking at right here is a uh, carrot tape. So each segment is 5 feet long. They sell them, well, we got 3 15 feet. So that'll be 45 feet of tape. And if you, let me get as close as I can here, you can see the seeds in there. The seeds are like every 2 inches apart. And so the idea is you get this tape, you put it down, and then you cover it. Like this segment here, I've already covered. And you put just enough dirt over it to keep the tape from flying off. And then that's your carrots. The tape is obviously biodegradable. Andrea said you can also use toilet paper, since toilet paper is biodegradable, so you can make your own tape. We were going to try that, and then time ran out. And so this is the first thing we're doing. We're also planting the cabbage, the carrots, or the beets, and the potatoes. So the carrots I know are going to be, I don't know if you can hear that, but that's Ern complaining, even though she's like 150 feet away. And Sherlock is digging in one of the piles. So hold on a second. All right, when I said Sherlock was digging in the pile, I mean he was digging in one of the piles. That is all him right there. Now, we grabbed some of this and was using it for something or other. So this pile was always up at the top there. That was me. That was not him. But yeah. So when I say he was digging the pile, I mean he was digging in the pile. So there's the culprit right there. And before I stopped him, Lady Pants came over there because she decided she wanted to get on the fun. So I guess I'm going to have to let them in. Okay, with that distraction dealt with, luckily my tape didn't fly off, otherwise Sherlock would have really been in trouble. But anyway, I'm going to put these in. The cabbage are supposed to go in the end. They might or might not, because I think they might take more room than what we initially thought, which I'll get into when we do the cabbage. Then I'll do a quick thing on the onions and garlic and everything when we're done. So I just wanted to say this is what the tape looks like. So now I'm going to finish doing this and then get on to the beets. All right, the beets and the carrots are done. This is the beet row right now. And as you can see, I got my little cheat sheet in there. The beets are about every 4 inches or so. So you can see where I planted them. And I just finished the potatoes. We've been going back and forth on the potatoes on whether or not we're going to try to stagger them and get 2 rows per one of our big rows here, or were we going to do a single row, and how is that going to affect our future irrigation system. So what we ended up coming up with is we're just going to do a standard trench, which the middle of the bed has this little trench thing that we built into it. So all I did was just go where that was, and I just deepened it. So I'm going to come back in. There's some weeds I'm going to try to get out because I want potatoes to grow here, not weeds. And so what we have, this is mainly for our reference. We have the heirloom russets first. By first, I mean it's the closest to the house. Then the Purple Majesty is next. Then the Yukon Golds. And then the potatoes we got at Tractor Supply, which were the Wisconsin russet potatoes. So there were a lot more of those than there were the other ones. And so I want to have that on, so if we forget which one is which, then we know. And then the other thing is, it's supposed to rain all day tomorrow, which is the other reason why I want to get all this done today. So all I'm going to do right now is, they say put the dirt back about 3 or 4 inches on top of the potatoes, and then they're good. Normally you water them, but it rained last night, because as you can see, the dirt's kind of moist, and it's going to rain tomorrow. So I don't think actually watering them is going to be the case. Then when we get done with this, then the only other thing left is the cabbage, and then we're done. And then as soon as I'm done with the cabbage, I'll do an overall on where everything is right now. Okay, with the cabbage planted, now all of our pre-frost, which is things that can be planted before last frost, is now done. And we have about 10 rows of about 77 feet each. Everything is a double row except for the potatoes and the cabbage. Those are not double rowed inside of each bed. So first row here, this is elephant garlic. This was planted about 2.5 weeks ago. As you can see, it's coming up nicely. And I took a picture, sent it to my aunt a couple days ago to make sure that yes, this was the elephant garlic coming up. And she responded of, it looks happy. So I'm assuming that's a good thing. So that's row 1 is all elephant garlic. Row 2 here, this is the Texas super sweet onions right here. The garlic was planted about 2.5 weeks ago. The onions were planted about 3.5 weeks ago. So this is all the Texas super sweet right here. The Texas super sweet, I think, is going to be about the biggest onion we have. So as you can see, those are coming up good. Then I'm walking down to the other end here, and this is, I think it was the Spanish onions. These were the long day onions that Andrea oopsied with. So these are technically not supposed to grow here. And let's see what that says. Yeah, the yellow Spanish onions. So those are the long days. They're growing good, so I'll give them that. All right, row 3 over here. This is more elephant garlic. Row 1 had the what I called the regular cloves when we broke them out. Row 3 has the rest of the regular cloves, what we call the onion cloves, because elephant garlic, it grows as one bulb, and then once it gets to a certain size, then it starts cloving out. And so we had about 2 dozen of them, plus or minus, that had not bulbed out yet. So those are called onion bulbs because they hadn't cloved out yet. So we have those, and then the ones here are the small cloves, because my aunt said to try to split them between the regulars, the smalls, and the onions. So that's what we did. All right, this row here, row 4, this is another one of the onions. Hold on a second. This is the red Creole onions, and this is the only thing on this row, because we weren't going to have that much room left. We might put something else over there later, but right now this is the only thing on this row. All right, the next row, this is my aunt's corms. Now, we have a love-hate relationship with these corms, because my aunt said all you had to do was soak them for 24 hours, then you just peel the husks off. Well, we soaked them for more than 24 hours, and Andrea was able to get the ones that we bought, which came from Texas, and the ones that and I was doing the ones from my aunt, and I got about halfway done because there was about 300 of them, and it just wrecked my fingers, and it also wrecked Andrea's fingers too. So I made the executive decision that half of my aunt's corms were out of their husk, and half of them are going in the ground with the husk intact. We didn't do anything to them. We just pointed them the correct direction, and that was it. And so supposedly they'll still grow. They just might take a little longer. So that's in row 5. Row 6 here. This is a combination. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, I forget exactly where I left off. I had a client call, so that kind of screwed up my momentum. But anyway, this row here, which is row 6, is the Cipollone onions. Now, Andrea is the one who picked out all these different onion types, so I can blame her for all these different onions. But I think she was just wanting to see what was going to grow good here. And then over here are our leeks. And it looks like out of everything, the leeks seem to be not growing the best. So I don't know why. But it's also still young too. It could be that the ones that are not on the surface, it could be that they haven't really matured yet to get up above the surface. So I'm not really concerned about it. All right, row 7, or no, so that was 6. Yeah, row 7, up at the top are what we call the Texas corms. Those were the elephant garlic corms that we bought, and they came from Texas. So we just, to distinguish between my aunt's corms and those corms, we call those the Texas corms, and my aunt's, of course, my aunt's corms, both of which are elephant garlic. Then right here is the video part I did earlier. That's the carrot tape, which is on the same row as the Texas corms. Then on row 8 here, this is all the Texas white onions. And it takes up literally the entire row. There's literally like maybe a foot left. So these seem to be growing good too. Then mainly what I was doing today is row 9. The first part up here are the beets. The beets were actually what they call pelletized, where instead of just the seed, it was the seed with a little clay shell around it. Amongst other things, it makes it bigger, and bigger seeds are easier to deal with. So there's about 250 of these in the ground right here. Then on this side is, I collapsed the center trough and I put cabbage. And so that cabbage goes all the way to the end of the row there. Then on row 10, again, we have cabbage on the end, and then the rest of this is the potatoes. So we got what I call the Tractor Supply russets, because those are obviously bought at Tractor Supply. Then we have the ones that Andrea got, which were the Yukons here, the Purple Majesties here, and then the Heirloom russets here. I wanted to have the 2 different russet types as far away from each other as possible, for no other reason is when we go to dig them up at the end of the year, we'll know which one is which, because they're about 20 feet apart. So that's it. Each of these rows are about 77 feet, and they're mainly full. I mean, some of them have about maybe 10 or 15% that's not full, but I can get over that. And the main purpose for us doing this year is see about doing the larger scale farming. So instead of doing like a little garden like we did last year, the year before, where we just had 1 or 2 of everything, you know, we have 1,000 onions, we have 1,000 garlic, we have 250 beets, we have about 400 and something carrots. We got 50 linear feet of potatoes. We have about, I think I planted about 60, 65 of the cabbage. And that's just the pre-frost stuff. The stuff that is going to be after last frost, which will be in April, you know, that's all your regular stuff. That's your tomatoes, that's your squash and zucchini, your melons, all that kind of good stuff. So it looks like, as of right now, we're going to fill out this entire 8,000 square feet. And so next up is, since this is done, now I can concentrate on getting water from the well, which is all the way over there, out to here. So that will be in another set of videos. So I'm exhausted. And and in case, if you're eagle-eyed, yes, the shed is done painted. So I might do a little short or something on that. But I wanted to get that shed painted, and it was in dire need of getting painted. So I will call this done for now.